So I have some polynomials here, and I'd like to multiply them together. What makes this different from the ones we've looked at so far is now I have three, right? Everyone we looked at up until now has only had two things multiplied together. Right? So how are we going to handle this? Well, I want you to think about how we would do this if they were numbers, right? If you wanted to multiply 4 times 5 times 9, for example, you just completely ignore the 9 for a minute. Say, look, 4 times 5 is 20. 20 times 9 is 180. In other words, you do them two at a time. Well, that's exactly the same thing I'm going to do here. I'm going to just completely ignore that a plus b minus 1, and I'm going to multiply the a plus 1 and the a minus 1 together. Now you can do that using the FOIL method. You can do that using the distributive property method. You can use it by writing one on top of the other, doing kind of the old school multiplication. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just try and take yet another shortcut to get to the answer here. The way we multiply polynomials, I want to take both of the terms from the first one, multiply them by both of the terms from the second one, add them all together. That's going to give me the answer. Right? So in other words, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a times a, that's a squared. I'm going to do a times negative 1, that's negative a. Now I'm going to multiply the 1 by everything in the second polynomial. I'm going to do 1 times a, which is a, and 1 times negative 1, which is negative 1. And now I've put that in parentheses, right? Because I need to multiply that, the whole thing, by this a plus b minus 1, which I'm just going to bring down. We're just going to let that float along out there for a minute until we get this first part straightened out. Now in here, let me get the plus in there, minus a plus a, that's 0. Those two parts cancel. So all that's left here is a squared minus 1 times a plus b minus 1. All right, now I've got one more multiplication and I'll have the answer. Now again, you can do this any of the methods we talked about. I'm going to do this by the third grade multiplication method, where I put a plus b minus 1. Then I'll do a squared minus 1. And now watch what happens, right? When I do this, essentially what I'm doing is I'm multiplying the minus 1 by everything in the a plus b minus 1. Then I'm multiplying a squared by everything in the a plus b minus 1. Essentially, I'm going to do the exact same thing I did with the first two terms. It's just organized a little differently. So negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. Minus 1 times b is minus b. Minus 1 times a is minus a. A squared times minus 1 is minus a squared. I'm going to put that all the way over there on the left because there aren't any a squared terms already. Then a squared times b is a squared b. And a squared times a is a cubed. You see, there aren't any like terms here at all. So the answer is going to be kind of a big thing, but that's okay. It's a cubed plus a squared b minus a squared minus a minus b plus 1. Wow. Okay. They don't always come out pretty, right? They don't always come out to just 2 or 3 terms. So that's going to be it, right? That's the final result of multiplying those 3 polynomials together. So if you want to see the presentation on the distributive property that kind of explains how we do all these multiplications, you can click on that link up here in the upper left. And if you like this video, please don't forget to click the like button down below.